for One by Horacetorys. Is this enough, Mommy? The neon orange bottle wobbled as Kiedra concentrated on pouring the liquid into the plastic teapot. She wore kitchen gloves that reached almost to her elbows. A strand of her thick hair fell over her face, and she puffed at it, never taking her eyes from her task. That's good, kid. Now set it down, slowly, okay? Mommy sat in the miniature chair across from her, her legs disappearing gracefully beneath the cramped table. Stuffed animals watched blankly from the other two seats. Screw the cap on tight now. Good. My arms are itchy. Kiedra reached to tug the gloves off. No, wait, Kiedra. Don't take them off yet. We still have to add the sugar, and I don't want any splashes to get on you. Kiedra exhaled a groan and scrubbed the sleeves together to relieve the prickle. Okay. All right, put them in slowly, one at a time. Kiedra pinched a sugar cube in her rubbery fingers and held it over the teapot's mouth. How come I can't drink any of this tea? This is special tea, just for some kinds of people. It's not good for people like us. But it has lots of sugar in it. Kiedra added another cube, watching it sink into the dark liquid. Oh, kiddo, you always did want more sugar, didn't you? You just have to promise me you won't drink any of this, okay? Kiedra sighed. Okay, I promise. Good girl. Mommy rested an elbow on the table, chin in palm. Hey, where'd you get those cute barrettes? Did Daddy buy them for you? They're Princess Yasmin barrettes. Sarah gave them to me for my birthday party, Kiedra said, and puffed at her hair again. Mommy shook her head slightly. She gazed at her daughter, a shadow over her features. A car door slammed outside, and a tuneless whistling approached the house. Daddy! Kiedra exclaimed. She scraped her chair back, half standing and grabbing the last sugar cubes to drop in the pot. Honey, wait! Hide the bottle! Under the sink! Kiedra stopped, rushed back to grab the plastic container, then charged to the sink. Take the gloves off too and wash your hands. Mommy glanced down the hall where the lock turned in the front door. Kiedra stripped the gloves clumsily from her arms and threw them in the cupboard after the bottle, banging the doors closed. She jumped up on the step stool, leaning sideways to reach the faucet. Water sprayed over her hands, splashing the counters and floor. Daddy's measured footsteps approached, pausing at the master bedroom. There was a clunk as he set down his briefcase. Then he appeared in the kitchen doorway, loosening his tie. Daddy! Kiedra shouted, upsetting the stool with a bang as she bounded toward him. She embraced his legs. Hey, kiddo! He grinned, brushing her bangs from her upturned face. What am I, your new towel? Here, dry up, girl. He drew a cloth from the rack and tossed it over her head. She giggled, yanking it free, her eyes shining beneath her tousled hair. He stepped over to the dining table, dragging a chair back and sinking into the seat with a grunt. Oh, man. He closed his eyes, tipping his head back, then blinked them open. So, what'd you do while I was gone? Have tea with Green Bear and Fluff Fluff? Kiedra bounced over, climbing into his lap. We were just getting started. Then Mommy came and told me to... Daddy thrust her back, hands clamping her arms, jaw working. She's gone, he finally hissed. Kiedra's feet swung against his shins, and a small choking noise escaped her lips. He put her down. She's gone. Mommy's gone, okay? He stood and cursed sharply, stepping around his daughter, who sobbed, slumped on the linoleum. She's not here. She's never going to be here. Mom's not here anymore, okay? She had the accident when all the policemen and doctors came, and they took her away in the bag, remember? We've already been to her grave twice. Do I need to take you again? Mommy is not here. You don't talk to her. She can't talk to you because she's gone. I'm sorry, Daddy. Kiedra coughed, rubbing her cheek. I'm sorry. His shoulders sagged. He closed his eyes again. It's just that I get so angry when you keep talking about her, you know. He looked down at Kiedra, then away, kneading a knuckle into his temple. She sat in the middle of the floor, knees under her chin, eyes expectant. Finally he turned and crouched, touching her on the head. I'm sorry too, okay? She nodded. He sighed. I didn't mean to hurt you. She nodded again, taking his fingers in her fist and rising. It's okay, she whispered. She darted in to kiss his hand, then tugged back on it, drawing him toward the corner where her plastic china set waited on the low table. Want to have some special tea? Naughty Girl by Horacetorys. Rebecca gasped. Her bed was littered with cotton stuffing and shreds of fuzzy brown fabric. A glassy black eye peered from a patch of fur on her pillow. And in the center of the tattered mess sat naughty Nancy, her plastic mouth frozen in a willful pout. Bad girl, Rebecca screamed. Bad Nancy! Her eyes stung as she stomped to the bed, yanking the oversized doll by the wrist. Bad Nancy! How could you do that to Mr. Fluffy? The doll thumped to the floor with a canned giggle. Rebecca shrieked and dragged it across the room, its shiny black shoes scraping on the hardwood with each tug. She reached her closet and wrenched the handle, the door opening with a sharp creak. Naughty! Bad girl to kill Mr. Fluffy! She gave the doll a savage jerk and it collapsed in the closet, a jumble of limbs. I'm sorry, Mommy. Its voice was tinny, but sincere. Rebecca banged the door shut. This is your punishment. Rebecca! Her mother's voice floated up the stairs and her footfalls rapped on the wooden steps. What have I told you about shutting doors? Rebecca whirled her hand to her mouth. She rushed to the bed on tiptoes, silently scooping handfuls of stuffing and fur into her arms. She stumbled to the toy box, trying to push the heavy lid open with her foot. Her mother entered. Rebecca, what is our rule about... She sucked in a breath. The pile of material tumbled from Rebecca's arms, and she backed away, hands held behind her. Bad child, her mother shouted. Bad Rebecca, filthy, despicable, unfit child. How could you let naughty Nancy do this? Are you truly that inept at controlling her? No, Mother, I can control her. I won't let her do it again. I've punished her. How? How have you punished her? I locked her in the closet. Just now. Her eyes shone, pleading. Oh, in the closet. I see. Mother pursed her lips, smoothing her apron. How long will she have to stay? Rebecca stammered. 8 hours. And you think that will teach her not to misbehave? Oh, yes, Rebecca exclaimed. You know how she hates the dark. Yes. She does hate it so. Her mother tapped her chin several times. Well, if you're sure she'll learn her lesson. Oh, yes, I'm sure she will. Mother seemed to reach a decision. Very well, then. I'll leave her in your care. She turned with a clack of her heels, walking to the door. Rebecca rushed to pick up the stuffing strewn on the floorboards. Mother turned with an afterthought. Though, Rebecca, darling. Yes, Mother. I think it best if you leave that disaster as it is and have naughty Nancy clean it up herself when she gets out. Yes, Mother. She brushed the scraps from her hands back into the heap. Nodding to herself, Mother exited the room, closing the door softly behind. She clicked down the stairs and back into the kitchen. A timer dinged on the counter. Heavens, I nearly forgot. She stepped over to the oven, collected matching pot holders, and bent to open the door. Whoopsie daisies, she exclaimed, straightening abruptly. She pulled a large pair of fabric shears from her apron band, setting them on the counter, then bent again. A rush of warm, apple-scented air filled the kitchen as she cradled the steaming pie in the potholders, setting it on the stovetop. She rehung the holders. A low meow came from the doorway, and she whirled to see a plump orange tabby cat making its way across the linoleum. "Oh, Chesterfield, you startled me." She crouched, gesturing. "Here, old boy, come here." Chesterfield padded indifferently to her. She hefted him up, cradling him in one arm. She approached the counter, examining the scissors lying upon it. She frowned, picking a tiny scrap of brown fur from between the blades, then depositing it in the trash bin beneath the counter. She held the shears to the light, working them a few times. The cat growled, jerking its head back. "Oh no, Chesterkins, never fear." She replaced the implement on the counter, then smoothed his ears back a few times. "I do believe she'll be on her best behavior for quite some time."